And welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is investment. And what if we were to think of the time and energy that we direct towards something as an investment? Maybe we might reconsider where we are directing our time and energy. So before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells and your molecules, your electrons, lighting you up with a brilliant beam of light from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together. Rub those palms vigorously together. Feel the tickling, the tingling, the tension, the friction, the buzzing that's in your hands when you release them, and allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, Jenny. So good to have you here with us. Welcome, Rosalind. So good to have you here with us. And welcome to everybody else who's joining us this morning. So this morning we're talking about investments. And, with the price of things rising, we think about investment in terms of money, but with the price of things rising, we might be more alert to our financial condition and where we are putting our investment, what we're investing into. We're going to sort of take a leap to look at what do we have that is ours always, that doesn't have to do with the ebbs and flows of economies, is our own energy, right? And our own attention. And when we direct that attention and that energy to concerns in our lives, to causes, to whatever we invest our time in, we are making an investment that impacts our future, right? We're putting energy in a direction or in a place that then typically where you put your energy, that's where you put your attention, that's where your energy goes. It's where you're magnifying whatever that is, where you're putting your attention. And so what if we were to look at the things we spend all our mental, emotional, spiritual, physical attention on and time on as an investment? So when we're feeling sad and angry and resentful and vindictive and whatever else, that's something that we're actually making an investment in. And so we can make that investment produce returns by utilizing those kinds of feelings to find out what's underneath them, and how to release the triggers that are behind such feelings. But when we indulge them without being conscious about them, without being without being present to them, we're making an investment in our future. And I'm sorry. So Jenny says, I have some bad news to share. My car was stolen by a girl I thought I was helping flee from a mentally and physically abusive man. I'm barely recovering financially from my first car stolen 6 months ago to the day 12/5/21. Wow. Wow, Jenny, that's pretty wild. I'm wondering if you have I'm imagining that you've made a police report and that you have insurance. I'm hoping. Um, hopefully this will turn around. I'm so sorry to hear of this challenge. So wild. Okay, good. I'm glad you've taken care of all of that. But it sounds like maybe you were helping her to flee from a mentally and physically abusive man, and her desperation drove her to do not so wonderful things. Desperate people do desperate things. Good morning, Bernadette. Welcome. So this is, I guess we can look at this in the context. Jenny said, I made a huge investment for my current car. Well, and you made an investment in this woman, right? You made an investment with her, in her, by offering her the help and attention that you gave her. And it looks like at this moment, Shirley, that this was not an investment that's paying you back in the way that you would hope. I've made some bad investments in my life. You know, even though they were informed, even though I believed they were informed. Jenny says, I think it was a setup. It was a scam. I'm so sorry, Jenny. I'm so sorry. And yeah. I wish I could say something that would make it better. But hopefully, you know, you have the insurance and can have the car replaced, and hopefully they bring these people to justice, because people who prey on well-meaning people are the worst. You know, it's like, what is up with that? People who prey on people who have a big heart and who are vulnerable and well-meaning. It's just unconscionable, reprehensible, the worst kind of people that do that. It's very, I don't understand where that comes from, that people could do such things to others. You know, it just, it saddens me deeply to know that there are people like that out there. And we get to hone our sense of intuition. Bernadette says to Jenny, bless you for at least attempting to assist. I feel for your situation. Yeah, me too. I mean, being good-hearted, you can easily get taken advantage of, which is sad. And the thing is that we often have a whisper of awareness in these situations. We often have a whisper, and I'm addressing this because I've been at the effect of it in my life, and I think so many well-meaning people are also at the effect of it, where we have a whisper of intuition saying, there's something wrong here, or something just doesn't feel right. But then because we have these deep intentions of being generous and being open-hearted, that we tend to override those thoughts as negative thoughts. And we tend to want to give someone the benefit of the doubt, even though we have this underlying something that that is kind of putting up a warning signal. And I've had, so Bernadette says whisper, definitely, but we just don't want to accept it's happening to us. Yeah. And we do have these senses about things. And I have learned the hard way to pay attention to that sense and to not try and convince myself to act in a way that is counter to it. Having on multiple occasions had a warning sense, and then overriding it and then paying the price, then being being taken advantage of. Now, on some level, I knew it, and I denied my knowing and got bitten pretty badly for it. So Jenny says, wow. Jenny says, yes, a 28,000 Toyota RAV4, I paid for more than half of it to be able to afford payments. It's frustrating and difficult to grasp the reality and to feel helpless not to do anything about it. Jenny, doesn't your insurance cover that car? I mean, I know that as soon as you drive a car off the lot, it depreciates, but it's a new car. It sounds like you should be able to, hopefully, I'm hoping for you that you can recover it. I don't understand that you can't do anything about it. I mean, that's what, I don't know. I'm so sorry. It's got to be such a okay, so awesome. I'm so heartened to hear that, Jenny. Jenny says, yes, I have comprehensive, and it does. Okay, good. So thankfully you have that. And I know there's an expense to that, but thank God for that. So when I know that this is really painful, Jenny, and you've got to give yourself time to get through the shock and the upset and all of that around it. And hopefully it ends up, okay, so today Jenny says, I'll finally get into a rental car. Hopefully after moving through the shock and the dismay and the upset, and I know there's always self-questioning in situations like this and issues around trust that arise. And what I'm going to encourage you to do, Jenny, is to find a path. And it may be too soon, because we get to go through the grieving and all that shock and all those feelings. But at some point, hopefully sooner than later, you'll be able to get to a place where you can mine this for the gift. And I know that probably sounds really obnoxious right now, because you're right in the thick of it at the moment. But my MO and my go-to, my North Star, is to come back again and again to life is not happening to me, it's happening for me and through me. And so even the worst circumstances can provide us a gift, or do provide us a gift. And I don't want to sound Pollyanna, and I imagine it might sound that way to you now. I get that. But in my experience, even with the rough stuff that happens, or especially with the rough stuff that happens in my own life, to go back in to looking at it, the circumstances and the situation, to find the gift in it, is giving a gift to yourself in so many ways. You know, not just finding that gift, but also finding a way to move in the appropriate time. I'm not saying it's the time yet. There's probably more upset to process around this, but that, you know, there are gifts to be found, positive lessons to learn, and when you're ready, I invite you to explore that, and to find a place of empowerment for yourself rather than victimhood, because it's very easy. Most people would agree that you have every reason to feel like a victim in this situation. And I'm not saying you don't have any or every reason to feel like a victim. I'm just saying that feeling like a victim is so deeply disempowering. And this is, what are you going to invest your energy into in this, out of this circumstance? What are you investing your energy into? So Jenny says, I'm so naive to help others and to just be taken from. So Jenny, what I'm thinking, Jenny says, I'm just kicking myself. I hear you. So what's happened, and Bernadette says, it'll also make you more mindful of the potential signs to keep yourself protected. So here's the thing, guys, as typically, and I see this, you know, with healer people and people who have such a good heart, just because we have a good heart doesn't mean we don't get to be conscious and aware. And so Jenny, you're saying you're kicking yourself, and I just want to touch in with you, if you're willing, and I know that this is really super confronting. Jenny says, looking into hiring a private investigator. I think that sounds like a great idea. And I just want to ask you if you had moments of skepticism, if you had moments of feeling like, you know, this person, there might be something amiss here. Thank you, Jenny. That's courageous of you to say, yes, I'm willing. So, not to make yourself wrong. This is not about blaming yourself and, you know, feeling like, you know, that that there's anything wrong with you. What I am inviting you to do is to look and see if there was a moment that you had that said, maybe there's something not right here. And the thing is that people that take advantage of people are banking on us not paying attention to that sense inside that something's wrong. It was so interesting. I saw a TV show, and I don't know if it was a TV show, and there was this one person that was essentially he was a murderer. It was one of those shows. He was a murderer, and there was someone that suspected him, and they had this confrontation. The person who suspected him was endangered, knew that, had this sense that they were endangered, but the murderer invited them into the house. And rather than look bad and say, you know what, no thanks, I've got something else to do, they went into the house to try and preserve the appearance of things. And the murderer then reflected that back on them. And so it's interesting how we will deny our own, that what the murderer said to them is people just want to be nice. And so we'll deny our own knowing, we'll deny our own well-being in the context of trying to be nice. And even though we know better, even though there's something inside that we know. So Bernadette says, Jenny, insurance companies have investigative departments that may be able to assist you without it becoming an additional expense. And Jenny says, yes, Bernadette. So that's a good point too. But the thing, there may be a lesson in this to be trusting yourself more. I know that in the face of this, the feeling is that you lost trust for yourself because you feel, like you said, you're kicking yourself for being so naive. But I'm wondering if there was that whisper, that now you can learn to pay attention to the whisper. Doesn't mean we have to be on guard all the time. It just means paying attention to the whisper. And there may be other really rich lessons for you in this, Jenny. And hopefully with the insurance, and hopefully, yes, it's deep inconvenience, but make it worthwhile. Make it worthwhile by mining it for all the goodness and all the good learning that you can get from it. Mine it to find the place of empowerment for yourself, rather than investing into this notion of I'm too naive, like I can't believe it, I'm kicking myself, rather than investing into that and taking that into your future. How about investing in what can I find that's useful from this? How can I turn this situation into something that pays back positive dividends? I know I'm using all these financial terms, but this is really what I'm talking about in terms of investment. So Rosalind says, do we compartmentalize our energy in friendship we seek, conditional versus unconditional return on investment versus seeking relationship to heal our own wounds? So conditional, do we compartmentalize our energy in friendships we seek? Well, I don't know about you, but different friends, I have different friends who I feed and who feed me in different ways. It's not a matter of conditional or unconditional necessarily. It's just there are different dynamics in different friendships. And then return on investment versus seeking relationships to heal our own wounds. So if we're seeking relationships to heal our own wounds, that may be a return on investment. I'm not saying, I'm really, really not advocating that we look at friendship and relationship as a transactional kind of thing at all. And the truth is that if you're in a friendship and you're giving and giving and giving and you're not receiving anything in return, either from the other person's giving or from the delight that you have in giving, then that friendship isn't going to sustain, is it? Is it a friendship if there isn't a give and take, if there isn't a balance of benefit in some way, is that friendship going to survive? What's the foundation of that friendship if there isn't this mutuality? So I think that's really something to understand. Oh my gosh, Jenny, that's pretty horrifying. And based on your emojis, yes. Oh, what a great collection of emojis. But Jenny says, after the fact, turns out she was a drug addict when I found a case full of her needles. Oh my gosh. And so there are people, Jenny, who are really, really artful at misrepresentation. You know, some people are really, really, really good at it. I mean, there's so many scam artists that just, they prey on people's goodwill or people's need to be loved or people's need for acknowledgement or people's need to feel like they're making a difference. And I'm so sorry that you got taken advantage of in that way. Jenny says, I'm trying to find the positive, but it's difficult to see. I understand that, sweetheart. And it's probably just way early. It's just probably a little too early and a little too raw to be able to dig in and find the positive in this moment. Right now, you get to be aware of the feelings. And so the feelings that it's bringing up, those are all really rich places to be investing in, to see what's at the root of that. You know, like when I experience upset, I can be justifying the upset based on what the experience was, and or more productively, I can look at, well, what's the wound underneath the upset that led me there? You know, like what's going on in me that needs healing, that needs love, that needs compassion. So Jenny says, I want to advocate for women of abuse. I totally get that, Jenny. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And realize, and this is so important, that when you are dealing with people who have been abused, their metrics are different than your metrics. They are in a different world than you are in. You cannot expect them to be holding the same values in the same way that you're holding them. You're dealing with somebody who is very oriented towards survival. And when you have the sweetest animal that's cornered and injured, that animal can lash out and bite and attack. And so you need to be conscious, you need to be present and aware that there, don't assume, we can't assume that people are operating in the same arena of that. We might not have common values. And this is not putting people down. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. I have to run. And this is such a deep, powerful conversation. But understand that we tend to want to assume that people are like us and that people think the way that we think, but they don't necessarily. And so I'm not vilifying people. I'm saying be aware. Oh, good, Jenny. I'm so glad. And thank you, Dido. So good to have you here with us this morning. And I'm just saying, be present. The more present we are to our knowing, the more protected we are. It's when we override that, you know, when we want to, where we want to be good more than we want to be thinking something not wonderful about somebody else, even though we have a sense that it's true. Anyway, I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. I love you guys. I go live here each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network page, Facebook page. I so appreciate you. And Jenny, thank you so much for your candid sharing. And I so hope that things work out well for you guys, for you and for everybody. But I hope you find your way through this and find the gifts, even though right now may be too soon. Give yourself the gift of grace right